on this one. Hello, everyone. Yes, we will be waiting for the next few minutes, all right, before we start off the class for tonight. So before we start, you guys can speak to me first by the chats. So if you guys have any questions, we would do it at the end of the session. So tonight would be a 2-hour session where I will go through from Hail Mary setup day 1 until day 12. My voice is on an echo. Is my voice okay, or can you guys comment? Because before I start, I need to make sure that the voice is good. Voice is good. Okay, wait, hold on, bro. Can you send record video? Record video. I will record, but I'm not sure if it's going to be posted. It's just for my bookkeeping. Okay. So, like I said, this class is going to be a masterclass for many of you guys who are here, many of you guys who's been following Gerrard for the last 3 months. And I just want to say thank you for following the whole journey. I know it's there was like 3-4 times where we had a day where we had 2 SLs and stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm here and I'm here to really try to educate you guys in terms of trading. And I want you guys to be able to see the charts like how I see it. I know some of you guys are waiting for 2 months, like Mr. Harsh. Sorry for delaying the class for 2 months, but I also had other commitments to do before doing this. So thank you for bringing in your friends. Some of you guys have even brought in like 10 friends, 15 friends. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. So our goal here, number 1, is my goal is very simple. I want to know how many of you guys are new into trading and how many of you guys are experienced. So you guys are more than 2 years, or you guys are very, very new. Because whatever it is, for those of you guys who are new in this industry, you have to understand one thing. You have met with a guy who has about 5 years experience, who actually looks at the charts almost 14 hours a day. So your learning curve will be very quick. So I would say you would learn in 1 year, maybe 1.5 years. You could be a not bad trader if you start now. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be cutting short your process of learning. I'm going to be there to, that's why I'm always giving you the golden mappings daily so that you guys can see what's going to happen. If it's going to be on the sell or on the buy or whatever that I see from the market, I share it with you guys. So now it's about giving the knowledge to each and every one of you. So many of you guys who are trading for longer period of time, maybe 2 years and above, or even 1 year and above, you would understand this in a much quicker time. But do not give up. For those of you guys who are new, it's never easy, right? When you want to start something, when you want to do a business, or even when you want to, I don't know, even if you want to do something that you're not used to doing, it's very difficult. So that's why I am here. My whole team is here with me to help you guys, okay? So the number is 111 right now. It's my favorite number for the last 1 year and 2 years. So let's just start off the day today by letting you know what are the things that I will be doing today. So first of all, let me write it down here. I want to be showing on you. We're just going to be using this, but I want to explain the things that's going to go through today. Can I remove this annotate, please? Some of you guys are, yes, you can draw, huh? Okay, so let's start. We're going to make it very simple. Trading is already very, very complicated. So if we can really make sure that we understand something going out from the class tonight, is going to be a big achievement for me already, because I have made you a person from not knowing much, and after exiting this class tonight, you would understand slightly more than what you would understand right now. Okay, so topics that we'll be covering tonight, it's going to be number 1. We're going to be starting with the very basics. I know some of you guys have seen this so many times, but I want to go through the basics from A to Z up until the point where it is at number 12 Hail Mary, number 13, and also number 14. So if there's any question, can I start? Or you guys want me to explain like how did I start trading or blah, blah, blah and stuff like that? Or you just want me to be straight to the point, let's get into it and zoom it a little. Okay, I'm gonna zoom this. Okay, so for those of you guys who are in here, please do not do this because this is very disrespectful. I mean, if you guys want to be sending another team's, I don't know who's this FX trading team, please don't have to send this, okay? If you guys are here, I just want to make sure that what's your goal? If you're here to just fuck around, better not be here. So it's better for you guys to leave now. If you guys want to be here and really absorb the knowledge that I'll be sharing tonight, then you can stay. I'm willing to share everything that I know, all right? It's okay, I don't want to remove him because, I mean, I don't really want to remove him because he might just be making a mistake. If he does it again, then, I mean, I just want to be as positive as possible these days. There's so many negative people around me already, so I need to be very positive and just, you know, fuck everything and just do whatever I do best. Okay, the topics for tonight would be number 1. So important that you guys just listen to this. I know it's very, very basic. So how do we identify, let's just say very basic. How do we identify buying engulfing? I know it's really, really simple, right? How do we identify buying engulfing? This is going to be number 1. Number 2, how do we identify selling engulfing? Okay, number 3. After this, we have another pattern, which is called an engulfing that is failed, or we can call it as a fail Mary. For those of you guys who have seen, I'm sure you guys would call it as a fail Mary, right? So how do we identify this? We would also go through together and practice all of this first. This is the first step for tonight. Next, let's go to number 4, is identifying a setup for the buy. So what do we need? If it's going to be a buy, what do we need? Do we need to have an engulfing buy, or we need to have an engulfing sell, or do we need to have a fail Mary? Everything I will share to you guys in detail tonight. So number 4, we have identifying a setup for the buy. Number 5 is going to be identifying setup for sell. Okay, next is 6. Confirmations of 2 different time frames. So why do I say this? It's because that many questions that I've received from you guys are saying something like, H1 is on a buy, H4 is on a buy, and daily is on a sell. Where are you supposed to follow? Which direction are you supposed to follow? Are you supposed to follow the daily direction, or are you supposed to follow the intraday of H1? So this is something that is going to be very important. And based on my knowledge and based on my experience, confirmations, I will only be focusing on 2 different time frames, which means that the bigger time frames are the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, right? We also have the smaller time frames of starting from the H4, the H1, the M30. Some of you guys have also used, I don't know, M15, M5, and M1. So each and every time frame has its different role to play. So I would share with you later the details of what needs to be what. For example, a monthly, what will I be looking for? Is it a H1 confirmation? And if it's coming from a weekly time frame, what time frame should I look for? Is it straight away to the M15? Or should I go to the H4? So these are the questions that I know that you guys have, and I will answer them today in this whole 2 hours class. We're going to make it as compact as possible. And for any one of you guys who wants to trade, just by looking at this, you would understand slightly how to look for setups, how to understand candles, for example, and everything I will share here. Okay, number 7 is what we have to do is a lot of practice. This is very, very important because based on my experience, if you are here today, you are listening to me talking over here. When you listen to me talking over here, without any practice at all, you would not even understand. You would seem to understand something like, I understand what he's saying. But without practice, you would not be able to be confident. You will not be able to take any trades because you are just expecting for signals and stuff like that. So very, very important is I will always emphasize on a lot of practice, which I will also give you what to practice, because many of you guys out there, many people out there, mentors or traders or whoever, they do a lot of signals. They do a lot of teachings, yes, but they don't tell you what are you supposed to practice. Because in the charts, for example, there are so many things for you to backtest. Is it going to be the high of a candle? Or is it going to be the low of a candle? There are so many things. So why am I here for you guys is I'm going to cut short your process. I started trading over here. I started trading, I started losing and losing and losing. Of course, that's really, really normal. But if you guys are here and I have improved to a level where I can understand the charts. So your learning curve will start from here and above. So that's why I'm saying that your learning will be much faster than me. So if you really focus in this knowledge, everyone would be understanding the same buys and sells at the same time. You would understand why do I give you a buy. You would understand why do I give you a sell. You would also understand why did I ask you to cut loss your trades. So every single details, I want you to understand and master so that one day you can text me and say, Sir Gerrard, there is a buy setup from H1. There is a buy setup from M5. Can you please look at it right now? I want to buy. Can you feel the confidence that you have? Which I want to make you feel like that. Okay, so let's start off with tonight. Number 1 is about, okay, before I start off, is there any question for me to answer? If there is, I'm going to give you 1 minute to write down your questions in the chats so that everyone can see. And we're going to go through one by one, okay? How to identify buying, selling, fail, a sell setup, a buy setup, a confirmation of the time frames, and stuff like that. Thank you, Vivek, for saying that. It's really nice of you. Yes, you can trade the system on MT4. Nawaf is good to go. Matt, I want to be the best trader. Of course, bro. Best trader for me is a trader who never stops learning. I would really share with you on how to improve, because everyone is having the dream to be the best ever trader. But do you even have the dream and the drive to like what it takes to be one? You need to be in the charts all the time. You need to analyze why do you go wrong. Things like that, you need to ask yourself. Okay, also about okay, very good. Thank you for reminding me of this. And I will also include today's lesson with risk to reward ratio. All right. So how do we achieve traits of like this? For example, I know many of you guys have seen this, right? The red box and then the blue box. When we achieve this kind of setups, when we buy in this zone, our stop loss is only here. It's only, I don't know how many pips is this. This is only maybe 10 pips. So this to this, can you see? 101, it means 10 pips. So if it actually hits take profit, it can go as high as 30 to 40 pips. So this is what we want to be looking for, a really high risk to reward ratio, so that one loss does not mean anything. One win means that you have 3 times of losing for you to correct. We need ratio like 1 to 3. This is what Asun just said to me. Chief, which is very good type of work, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that is something that I really feel is important to start off. So we're going to add on number 8, which is risk to reward ratio. And I'm going to show you how do I put my stop loss, how do I put my break even, and how do I put my take profit, so that everyone here is clear. When they are not sure of how to trade, they can look at this video and understand how do I look for my setups. Okay, for layerings as well, I understand. Okay, don't worry about this. Maybe layerings can be under risk to reward ratio. So under risk to reward ratio, we can also have how to layer efficiently. Okay, so this is also a very important topic. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so since many of you guys, okay, wait, we also have someone saying that how do we control emotions? Okay, control emotions is also under risk to reward ratio, which I will also share with you. How do I combat this for my emotion? Because like when I started trading before, this is a story that I felt it's important for you guys to know. It's normal for a trader. You have a $5,000 account, you have a $100 account. It does not matter. What matters is how much are you willing to lose each trade, which I never cared about before. So that's why as a trader, when you do not have risk to reward ratio and you do not know how to layer efficiently, automatically your emotions, how is your emotions at that time? If you're not even sure, how much am I going to lose? If I enter this, how much am I going to win? Yes, win is normal. Everyone thinks only about win. Is it true? You only think about wins, and some of you guys are not even sure, like how much am I supposed to lose now? So don't worry, I'm just going to ignore this guy, okay? Who's just going to be sending that group. So, any other questions before I can start off with the first few topics? It's going to be very fast. So it's enough for today. I got a lot of backups here. Yeah, sometimes, you know, it's okay. Let's just move forward. Okay. Continue, okay? Topics we're going to do right now is how to identify a buying engulfing. So let's go to the first. So when you want to look at engulfing buys or sells, for you to practice your engulfing buys and sells, what you need to do is you can start looking at daily H4 or even H1. So let's just look at H1 where you have more setups available. So let's go to the back. All right. So right now we have identified this random zone. So in this random zone, how do you backtest? Is you start from the lowest point. So this is where it started off first, right? It went all the way up, it went all the way down, up, down, up, down. So this is where we can start backtesting again. So what we do is that we have to identify what is a bullish engulfing. So I'm going to explain to you what is a bullish engulfing. Bullish engulfing, it needs to be a candle that is above the high of the previous candle. So if you see like a green candle that is bullish, and then the previous candle is a red candle, it means that this is a buying engulfing. So let's just call this is engulfing by number 1. Okay, so just follow me. This is just going to be a recap. This is just going to be a recap because many of you guys have seen video number 1 until number 12. So I don't want to spend too much time over here, and I want to spend more time on explaining to you guys the bigger things, the higher time frames, the more important things to trade. Okay, so that is your first engulfing buy. This is your second engulfing buy. This is going to be your third engulfing buy. This is going to be your fourth engulfing buy. So I'm sure everyone understands this. And for those of you guys who do not understand how I achieve this engulfing buy, please comment so that I know how many people are not sure about this. This is engulfing buy. This is also engulfing buy. For any of my markings that you guys are unsure, please stop me. Okay, so why does this always have to be a red candle? Because for it to be a bullish movement up, like boom, obviously you need a candle that goes like this first, like boom. It needs to go down first. So when it goes down, let's just say that this is a candle. So why do we need a red candle? Is we need the movement from all the way up to push price down and close below like this for it to create a red. And the next candle that opens, it will need to open similar to this area and fly all the way up, 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 up. And importantly, for it to be a buying engulfing, it needs to close above than this high. So what we call this is the high of the previous bearish candle. Are you guys clear? So I'm just going to draw this again for those of you guys who are not understanding this. So what we see, this is a bullish engulfing that you guys need to have. Can you post this? Okay, don't worry. I'm not sure how to post on YouTube for now. Okay, this is the next engulfing buy. This is not an engulfing buy. This is just going to be a recap. Okay, this is not an engulfing buy. This is an engulfing buy. This is an engulfing buy. This is also an engulfing buy. So for engulfing buy, all you need to know is that you need to make sure that this happens. This is a bullish engulfing, or we can call it as engulfing buy. It's an easy name. Everyone uses this, right? Okay, so this is engulfing buy. Next, we have done the first part, which is engulfing buy. So next, what are we going to do is, wait, where did I write this now? Okay, so how do we identify a buying engulfing? So I think we are clear with that right now. So that is done. Next, let's find out how to identify a selling engulfing. Sure, you guys know this as well, but let's just recap again. You can start taking from any zones, no problem at all. H4, H1, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now let's just start looking for this. From this moment onwards, our job is to look for engulfing sell. For those of you guys who cannot see it straight away, do not worry. I was like you guys. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, when I see this, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. So just practice. This is the engulfing sell. This is the second engulfing sell. The third engulfing sell is this. The fourth engulfing sell is this. This is the fifth engulfing sell. This is our sixth. Do not skip. Is there any engulfing sell in here? Try and look. Is there any engulfing sell? Yes. This is the engulfing sell. So why do you need to be sharp? Because all our setups, you cannot make any mistakes in finding the engulfing sell, the engulfing buy. You cannot make any mistake. because mistakes means you will be having losses later on. This is also an engulfing cell. This is our, I don't know, 10th engulfing cell. Okay, this is interesting. Look at this over here. Look at it over here. Is this clear for you guys? When price retraces all the way down, look at this. Is this an engulfing cell? Clear. Okay, good. Very good. Clear. This is also engulfing cell. So many of you guys here are quite advanced. Can I move on to the next chapter? Which means that we have done engulfing buys. We have done engulfing cells. So what's next is okay. Okay, before we move forward, let's answer to this question. The question goes like this. Sir, is there any count that the engulfing has to form? Very good question. What I can say is that let's just use this space to draw some candles, okay? Let's just say that this is, we are looking for a buying engulfing, a bullish engulfing. So this needs to be first a red candle, because a bullish candle needs to start off with a bearish candle like this. As long, let's just say, okay, candles open like this, it closes like this. This is still not a bullish engulfing. This is still not a bullish engulfing yet. But it can take even 2 candles, or even 3 candles, 4 candles. It doesn't matter how many candles, but most importantly, in between these candles, we cannot have a red candle if we want to make sure that this is our bearish candle. Is it clear? So it doesn't matter how many candles, as long as it just breaks the high of this. So if the candlestick closes like this, first candlestick, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So if all of them, oops, sorry about that. This is the first. You just need to make sure I draw the wick so that it doesn't look weird. So the body of the candle, this, the body of the closing candle, okay? The body of the closing candle needs to be higher than the high of this candle. Then this is what we call as a bullish engulfing. It can happen with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, or it can also happen with just 1 candle like this. So it doesn't matter. Even if it takes 1,000 candles, as long as it's blue, 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 and then it closes above after 1,000 times, it's still a bullish engulfing. Okay? In all time frames, it's in all time frames. Second last was not a net bullish, correct. Second last is not a bullish engulfing. Only the last candle is bullish, okay? Okay, entry is the last thing, because entry is when you understand the whole setup, you understand what needs to be formed, what needs to close above, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, then we can understand where is our entry. So that's why we cannot skip to entry straight away, because the whole process is, it takes time, which means that you need to understand how to mark the setup of a sell of a buy. And then you need to understand after marking the setup, what needs to wait, what do you need to wait for price to pull back, for example. Okay, so sir, while looking for engulfings in higher time frame, how many days back do you have to look for current price? For this, you can look as far as possible, as far back as possible, as you can see. And this is a question that I will answer later when we are going into the daily time frame, when we're going to the daily and H1, when we're going from the H4 to M15. These are the things that we need to look at later, okay? Okay, so I think we are done with this. So let's start with the third. So let's see, what's the third? So that was just a recap for the previous videos. Okay, next. how to identify this is done. Second, how to identify a selling engulfing, done. Engulfing that is failed, what we're going to call as a fail Mary. So this is going to be a very, very important topic. Okay, wait, before I answer your questions, right? How to identify strong engulfing and weak engulfing, it's better. There isn't such thing as a strong engulfing or a weak engulfing. What is there is, does the engulfing creates a setup for the buy, or the engulfing does not create the setup for the buy? And for it to create a setup, it needs to create first, it needs to have a buy. Second, it needs to have a fail Mary, or maybe things like that. So that's why for me to identify if it's a strong engulfing or a strong or weak engulfing, I cannot say there's like a strong or weak engulfing, but I can say that this is a strong setup, or this is a setup from a daily time frame. That is why it's important for it to be a high time frame. Hidden engulfing is something that I think is very, very different, because I have friends who are trading with hidden engulfing as well, but I don't trade with hidden engulfing, so I don't really know what is hidden engulfing. All I know is the engulfing that I'm using can be seen. It's not hidden. So I just hope you guys will understand my flow first. Before we go into deeper, make sure you guys understand the flow first. Okay? Let's go into the third, which is fail Mary. Fail Mary is very, very important, because fail Mary is the start of a change of a trend. You need to understand that when you want to have a change of a trend, it needs to happen as a fail Mary first. For example, so let's start looking at, we are looking at the H4 time frame right now. So in this H4 time frame, sorry, all we need to do is start looking for a fail Mary. So what is a fail Mary? Fail Mary. A fail Mary is a buying engulfing that has been broken. Sorry, guys. Fail Mary. Sell engulfing that has been broken. So these are the two things that we'll be looking at tonight. Fail Mary. We have first the buy Mary that has been broken. Number two, we also have the sell engulfing that has been broken. Sorry guys, I'm not really feeling well, that's why I'm coughing. Is this engulfing strategy? Yeah, I just took a sip of water. Thanks, bro. Is this engulfing strategy work on major pairs? Yes, it does work on major pairs, because I don't know, many of you guys would know me before. I was only trading by currencies, 100% currencies. I was focusing on major pairs like GBP, JPY, GBP, USD, pairs that normal people would trade. But then I realized that there is something in gold that I can discover and use with this theory of engulfing. That's why these days I'm only been trading gold and looking at gold. Okay, so if we can start, fail Mary is broken down into two different things. This is also been shared with you guys in the previous videos. But what I want to share over here is a recap, because fail Mary is so important. Because if you get your fail Mary wrong, the whole setup will be wrong. And if you get your buying engulfing wrong, which means that your fail Mary is also wrong. So that's why it's important for you to understand first buying engulfing. You need to understand what is a buying engulfing and what is a selling engulfing, for example. So let's start off with looking at here. Our job is to be looking at fail Mary right now. So before it happens as a fail Mary, it needs to be a buy engulfing. So this is a buy engulfing. And I'm going to make it a zone like this. This is the buy. So far, do you guys understand this part so far? This is the buy, right? This is the buy engulfing. This buy engulfing came back into the zone and broke the zone. So as soon as this happened, that is when our fail Mary happens, because price has managed to break below and then price has pulled back into the zone. So this is our first buy Mary that failed. So many of you guys have seen this video, but it was not live, right? Buy Mary that failed. So this is what we're going to call this zone. So we would have first a buy Mary that failed. Second, what do we need in the zone? We need price to retest the zone. And I want to explain to you right now what invalidates the zone, which means that if price comes back into the zone, at what point is our fail Mary invalid? So make sure that you guys put a line at the highest of the buy Mary. So let's just say that this is H4. I'm going to use this as a purple line. So the highest point of your buy Mary is at 2053, 2053.97. So price can pull back into the zone, and as long as the candle does not close above, we can still use this fail Mary as a valid zone. Clear? This is very, very important. Before I start off the night, I need to make sure that this is clear. Do you understand that? Can you please send a chat? At least I know that everyone knows this before I move further. Clear? Crystal clear. Okay, I'm reading some of the messages. Some of you guys say it's clear. Some of you guys say it's not clear. So I will just repeat again quickly, like 1 minute, 2 minutes. And I want to answer this first. For fail Mary, does broken means price has to close below the low levels of price and return? Does it have to be in the frame? Okay, let's break it down. Which means that if we are talking about H4 right now, our job is only to look at the highest point of H4, which is this point. This point. This is the zone that price can retest, price can poke, price can really retest all the way up. But if it comes back down, down, before the H4 closes, like this, it's still valid for the sell from this zone. Okay? So H4 is H4, H1 is H1, M30 is M30. Every time frame has different stories. So that's what we got to do. We got to be a very good storyteller. So by looking at the charts later on today, at the last session, maybe like in the last 20 minutes, I would go through with you like how I look at zones, how I backtest in terms of, I know that this zone is going to be quite strong or these zones are going to be quite weak, for example. Everything is based on setups. So again, let's start off this thing by talking about the first thing. Let's remove this, okay? Okay, we're starting off with this zone over here. We have first this buy engulfing. Many of you guys will agree this. And when you do a buy engulfing, make sure you pull a zone from the high to the low of the bearish candle. So it would be a zone like this. So when we have a zone like this, obviously we have first, boom, the buy engulfing. The buy got broken all the way down, and we have found our first fail Mary. Read again. Buying engulfing that has been broken. So what does it mean by has been broken? So has been broken means it needs to break this low. This is the low of the bearish candle that has been broken. Clear? Just below this fail Mary, there is another, okay, wait, there's another question. Just below this fail Mary, there is another fail Mary. Which one do we consider, upper or lower? Okay, good question. Which one should we consider? What he is saying right now is we have this first fail Mary. Second, we have another fail Mary over here, right? Which is the buy engulfing. And if you make it a zone like this, it will be a fail Mary. Number one, a buying engulfing that has been broken. So who is my mentor? My mentor. One day I will share with you guys. Okay. So for now, but okay, wait. So listen, we are not trading or we are not entering over here or over here or over here. No, entry is not now at all. Now is just to make sure you understand what is a fail Mary first. Because for you to understand that is before we take a trade, right? This needs to happen. We need, number one, fail Mary. Does not matter if it's a buy fail or a sell fail. Number two, what do we need? We need an engulfing, sell or buy. Number three, what do we need? Is the same. We need an engulfing, buy or sell. This is the basics of what you guys would be learning tonight. So how to be looking at this setup, and I will show you everything. That's why for now, it's only looking for fail Mary. There's nothing to do with different things. Oops, what's happening? Okay. So let's look at this now. Now we are going to look at number two, which is this. Fail Mary number two. Fail Mary number two is a sell engulfing that has been broken. So know that if a sell engulfing that has been broken, we are looking for potential setups of buy to buy. This is for the sell engulfing. And if for the buy engulfing that's broken, we are looking for the sell to sell. So over here, the first one that we have found is a buy Mary, buy engulfing that has been failed. So became a fail Mary. What we are seeing over here now, focus on this candlestick. This is a sell Mary, right? This is a sell Mary. In this sell Mary, if you just make it a zone like this, look at it. This is the first sell. So for it to be a fail, it needs to break above this high. It needs to break above this sell. Boom. So what happened is that it broke all the way up. So after breaking all the way up, obviously, we will be looking for, look again what I written here. Sell engulfing that has been broken is a buy to a buy. We need to wait for the buy to happen. So obviously, that's when price retraced into the zone and then it went all the way up. So do you understand that this is a sell Mary that failed? That's the most important question right now. That's the most important question right now, because if you guys have already understand this sell Mary that failed and buy Mary that failed, I can go on to the next thing. Are you guys clear? Because this is the second one, and this is being taught in video number 12, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so everyone is clear so far except for, or every time it comes back, it is valid. Okay, good question. Every time, okay, you would ask me, how do I know that this cell engulfing, which is became a fail Mary, is still valid? Easy. Just put a line on the highest point and the lowest point like this. As long as the candles stays above, and breaks like this, means that, okay, this is not a good indication. That is based on my setup. Okay, so as long as it stays above this line, it is still valid for the setup for the buy. Okay. There are two sell Mary in this zone. Yes, correct. Wait, this is the first sell Mary, and the second sell Mary that failed is this. Okay, please tell me. Okay, this is a question for everyone. This is the sell. Okay, let's just say if I make a zone like this from here, I'm going to remove this line, and remove this blue first. So focus on this right now. This is our sell engulfing, right? Screen not visible. Are you sure? Oh, okay. So this is the sell engulfing, right? If I make a zone like this, and if I can ask you a question, price retrace into the zone, is this still a valid fail Mary? Is this still a valid fail Mary? Okay, so many said no. Yes, this is good because you guys have understand and you guys are ready. We have Mr. Nutan saying that it is yes. So how do I do this, Mr. Nutan? You think it is still valid? Because, okay, Mr. Nutan, let me tell you. Again, this is a sell engulfing. Put a line at the lowest zone like this. Put another line at the highest zone. The highest zone is where it needs to break above. The lower zone is where it needs to stay above. It should not close below. It can stay above this line and it's still a valid buy. Okay, so many of you guys answered correctly, but we have one or two who's wrong, but it's okay. We are here to learn and everyone's here to help one another. Okay, so let's start looking at the next one. This is quite a good setup, I would say. This is a buy. Okay, this is a buy. So I'm going to make it a zone like this. So as soon as I make it a zone like this, this is the buy. Boom. Oops. Okay. And then price broke all the way down. So when price broke down, the first break that happened is this red candle. Why? Because this red candle closes lower than the opening of the green, which is the low before. And when it closes lower, means that we have an engulfing buy that has been broken. So this candle right here is now a fail. Understand? It's a failed Mary right now. So when this is a failed Mary, we need to identify pullbacks into the zone for a potential sell setup. Because, let me repeat, a buy engulfing that failed is for the sell to sell. In this case, this is it. Buy engulfing that failed is for the sell to sell. Clear? So far, very clear? How's everyone doing? We are 30 minutes into the session. 30 minutes of the session is all recap about what we have done for video number 1 up to video number 12. And if everyone is clear so far, in the next 1 minute, just give me like 1 minute to drink some water, and you guys can, take a breather 1 minute before we start off class number 13, which is going to be where is it? It's down here. Super. Yes, super, bro. Super. Okay, let's look at this first. How do I identify this? Done. How do we identify a selling engulfing? Done. Number 3, engulfing that is failed. Done. Identifying setup for the buy. Okay, we have done this right now. It's done. Next, in the next 1 minute, we would start off with how to identify a setup for the buy. So before we start off with this, I want to make sure that we need to understand the fundamentals of how I trade. So we need to look at 3 different things first before taking any trades. So this is the key thing that I will show you guys in a bit. So give me 1 minute and we will start off with the next setup, which is looking for potential only buy setups. This is not a confirmation to tell you that this is going to buy. No, but from a H4 or a H1 or M30 or M15, if you see this, it means that this is a buy setup. So everyone is going to be clear that this is going to be a buy setup from a M5 time frame or even from a M15 time frame. It does not matter. What matters is it is a buy setup. Okay, so give me 1 minute. I'm just gonna drink some water, and then we're gonna start off a bit more. Okay. Hey guys, yeah. For a random question, right? Do you guys, which broker do you guys trade right now? In with all the news and happening right now, which broker? Many of you guys are trading with OctaFX. Are you guys trading with OctaFX or? How do you guys find? Okay, so there are a lot of people from OctaFX. I think it's quite normal because it's quite a big it's quite a big broker, right? But I want you guys to also understand like why did I move to Vestrado is because that I feel like it's a better broker in terms of try it for you guys, try it for yourself. Like tell me how you feel about it. When you're in news, that's the most safest you can feel. They won't have any spiking, or for the last, I don't know, 4 years, there wasn't any moment where it spiked like crazy, 80 pips, 100 pips, never. And for the time when it's news, the spread is always the same. It does not open up like crazy, you know? So that's why I'm just wondering like, so I'm just looking at all these people sending Vestrado, OctaFX, Vestrado. There's some saying FXTM. I don't know what's that. Yes, we also support crypto payments, so everything is good. Don't worry, but then I think it will be better after this. Yes. Yes, bro. 11:30 right now in my home country. I made it a bit late for you guys today because of some of you guys having festive season, right? Okay, so give me 1 minute and then we can start off with identifying a setup for the buy. Okay. Yes, I think you should be able to use the deposit and withdraw. Shouldn't be a problem. Quite a lot, bro. I look at the chart almost 10 hours. I will start uploading the 13 to 30 soon on YouTube, maybe starting from next week onwards. The 1% I think goes to the bank, bro. Or novice, how many hours he needs to look? To be honest with you, the more the better, bro, because there isn't a time limit to this. But what I can suggest is this: when you are into the energy of like, okay, I'm really excited, I want to really backtest, use that momentum, use the energy to really plan a strict schedule, which means that, I don't know, okay, well, tell me, like, for example, Hashimu Abu Bakar Siddiq, do you have like time in the morning more, or in the afternoon, or in the evening? It depends. So you need to plan out time, like, okay, if let's just say in the morning you are free, you make sure that in the morning from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m., you are 100% with the charts. No distractions, no TikTok, no scrolling on TikToks for a while or even Instagram, nothing. You cannot even hold your phone. You need to be looking at your phone only for charts, for example. So this is what you need to do, and to be disciplined, because everyone can say that I spent 10 hours, but is it quality 10 hours? Because in that 10 hours, you could be looking at the charts for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then suddenly when you're bored, you look at the TikTok, for example. So point to be noted, that was my point. So make sure you guys take note on this. Okay, so let's move on, which is number 4. How do we identify a setup for the buy? Okay, now let's look at this. Okay, let's start looking at M15 so that we have more data to be playing with. Okay, when anywhere random, right? Okay. Buy setup. What do we need? Okay, number 1, you guys understand what is fail, Mary? The 2, you need the engulfing buy or sell. The 3, you need the same engulfing buy. Okay, the most important thing is how do you combine these 3? How do you combine this? And how do you know which is valid, which is invalid? So this is the most important thing. Make sure you pay attention, okay? Okay. It needs to start off with, first, over here, we need to have a fail Mary. So let's just say that this fail Mary is by engulfing by that fail. Buy that failed. Boom. So when a buy that failed, number 2, what do you need? Engulfing. Sell. In over here. Number 3. So this is the first. Needs to be a second. Needs to be a third. Which is number 3. Engulfing. Sell. Again. So when you have this, this would be a combination that what would happen is you would receive a setup of a buy. If you have all of this checked, the fail Mary, that buy, that failed, and engulfing sell, engulfing sell. So far, so clear? I mean, so far, you guys are clear? This is for a setup for a sell, correct? I'm going to write it down. Maybe it's not clear. Setup for a sell. So this is a setup for the sell. Wait, we were supposed to look for what? Buy, is it? Okay, so I told you guys that we were identifying a setup for the buy, right, just now. So it's either we want to continue, wait, relax. Identifying a setup for the buy. So let's now look at the buy first. I was looking at the sell, sorry. So now we focus on number 4, identifying a setup for the buy. So let's look again. Chill lah, guys. Come on, I was just testing you guys. Okay, relax. Okay. Okay, let's just start off somewhere down here because definitely we'll be buying. Okay, now we're going to be looking for the buy. So buy setup. How do we look for this? Is this number 1, as I said, fail Mary. So this needs to be, okay, for buy setup. Which one? Buy or sell? Buy or sell? Buy or sell? I'm asking you guys. Buy or sell? Some of you guys are confused. Okay, simple. If you want to have a buy setup, fail Mary needs to be the opposite. So we need to be looking for a sell engulfing, that is broken. Okay, sell engulfing that is broken. Number 1. Number 2, we need to be looking for buy engulfing. Number 3, we need to be looking for buy engulfing. This is the only thing that you need to do. In order, number 1 is the fail plus the buy engulfing. Number 3 plus the buy engulfing. Clear? So when you want to look for setups for the buy, look for first the sell engulfing that is broken. So where is our sell engulfing that has been broken? Over here, for example. So what we have is, first, let's start looking at this. Whoop. This is the sell. I'm going to make a zone all the way like this. So this is going to be the high. This is going to be the low. This is going to be M15. Okay. So this is our sell. And this is a sell. And this is the breaking. So the breaking is this point. So what do we have over here? We have found our first. Done. Failed Mary, number 1. Number 2, what do we need? We need zoom candle. Okay, wait, let me zoom it in. Is it clearer like this? Better? Okay, better, good. So this candle, look at this. Okay, now good. Okay, so this is the sell. And then we need to find the second recipe, which is the buy engulfing. So where is the buy engulfing? In this zone, in this blue zone, look for buy engulfing. So I would mark first. This is my buy engulfing, number 1. You have to imagine that this has not happened yet like this. Then it's better. Okay. Can see? Okay. This is your buy engulfing number 1. And then you're going to see, oh, there's another buy engulfing number 2. You're just going to mark. This is all your zones. Then along the way, Is there any new engulfing buys? Yes, there is one over here. So these are all your zones. So we would call this as potential engulfing one buy. We have over here our fail Mary, which is our sell engulfing that has been broken. This is for this. This is for this. It's also for this. And it's also for this. Clear? So far clear? Okay, so when we have found our when we have found our potential engulfing number one, all we need to wait for is a breakout. This is a breakout. So how do you identify that this breakout is a valid breakout? It needs to have 3 candles. So this is the first candle, this is the second candle, and this is the third candle. So after having 3 candles like this, outside above the high of this candle and above the high of any candlesticks that you want to make it as your potential number one. So this is, yes, you mark candles all before the fail. What do you mean? The fail? How is it? No, because we weren't going to be looking at setups like this as soon as it happens. So now it's just backtesting for you guys. When it's a real thing, we will be looking at forward testing. That's when I send you the setups. Now it is just for you to understand what is fail Mary, what is potential number one, what is potential number two. Because this is the steps that need to be taken before the ultimate. Because I can look at this and I can look at this. I can look at it for, I don't know, in 1 minute I can find. But for you guys who are new in real charts, you can, of course, you can still see. You can still see based on previous data. I will show you later, don't worry. Okay. So right now, when we have done the pullbacks, this is, the breakout. This is going to be the pullback. The pullback into the zone, it needs to be in our engulfing one and also our fail Mary. So it needs to overlap. You can see over here, if we only draw from this candle, for example, like this, this is the first engulfing buy. Candle did not close inside. It closed above the blue line like that. So this cannot be taken as our first buying setup. But if we look further to the back, we can take this candle over here. When we take this candle over here, we can also use this as our second engulfing. So why do I say that we can use this is because price closed inside this zone. Can you see these two candles? It closed inside this buying zone number one. It also closed as inside our fail Mary over here. I know it's quite complicated over here, but this is something that you guys need to practice as well. So can you see? So when we have seen that price creates this bullish engulfing, we can say that in the H4 time frame, we have formed a buying setup. But where is a potential buy? If you buy from here all the way, you need to understand that there will be pullbacks into the lower zone. But sometimes, of course, price just fly all the way up, which we will look into the smaller time frames later on why did it fly or why did it really drop, for example. Yes, it is quite complicated, but with practice, it can be done. We can use different color for better clearance. Yes, you can. So, okay, let's just say we want to use this zone our fail is going to be red. Our potential buy number 1 will be this color. So as soon as price retrace into the zone, we would wait for price to close as a bullish candle in the zone. And our zone would only be from the lowest point of this candle. So it will be roughly around this zone all the way to here. So that's how we can get the sharpest buy. I'm not saying that this works 100% all the time, but I can say it works most of the time, because we know that as long as price stays above this line, it means that this H4 setup for the buy is still valid. So that's why as soon as price, because prices wants to fly, right? It needs to respect this low at 1725.06. And if it actually closes above, that's a very good sign that it's just going to continue on the upside. So from there, I would also always look for long positions. So my stop loss would be, let's just say, which is the lowest point. So we have the fail Mary over here. We also have the buy engulfing over here. We also have the second buy engulfing over here. So this is going to be the third buy engulfing. So the first one was done here. The confirmation for the buy was here. So that's why we need to take the confirmation from there. And the lowest point is here. This is going to be the kind of setup that we can take. 1, 2, 2. So I will show you how I calculate this later on. But for now, it's just understanding to find a buy setup. Can you see that? This is a complete buy cycle. Clear? If you guys don't understand, you guys need to repeat again this part, because of course it's not easy to understand, but try and look at it again right now. Okay, I will repeat again with a new setup. I will go further and further down, okay? Don't worry, guys. Relax. So from here, for you to take the zone, you don't have to take the whole zone. Right after you have, when you have confirmed a buy zone, only take the lower part of the zone like this. Yeah, it depends. You can take it all the way from here, or you can take it from here. It depends on you. Like for me, I just take it like a 20 to 30 pip zone. And as long as price is in that zone, I will be continuing for my buy. Okay, so wait, we have some questions. Yes, correct. Danish. First, we look into the Filmary zone. That zone needs to buy the, yes, correct. Okay, I will repeat later. Don't worry, this is not our entry. This is just a H4. Our entry, everything will be done from the lower time frame of M5 and M15. H4 is just an indication for you. You don't take the trades from H4. Okay, I'll repeat. Okay, so if that 3 candles doesn't happen, it will not become a very solid breakout. Okay, let me repeat again, but let's find another zone. M5, oh, this is H4, damn, let's go M5. Okay, well, we were here just now. Okay, this is another setup that I can see. So listen carefully, okay? We are here to look for buy setups. In this buy setup, okay, wait, there's someone. This zoom can, okay, wait, hold on. Okay. we are focusing on boom, this, and why did the boom up happen? So when you look at this, first thing that you need to understand is where is the fail Mary? So I've identified, yes, look at this. Look at what Aswan is saying, guys. It's very easy. Sell, failed buy, failed sell. For this, need practice to find first zone. Yes, very precise, correct. Okay, this is the sell. This is the sell first. For it to be a buy setup, it needs to be a sell that failed. And then price needs to pull back into the zone. This is not pulling back into the zone. This is just a touch. We want it to really make a pullback into the zone like this. So can you see? It actually pulled back into the zone. It closed inside the same zone as our fail Mary. Okay, that's the first criteria. Number two, what do we need? When we already have the fail Mary over here, next is we need to have the buy Mary number one. So when you have a buy Mary number one, make a zone. Where is your buy Mary? Is this one? Yes, it could be. This is your first buy Mary. But look at it. Price made a pullback. Okay, let me zoom into these candles. Okay, is it better like this? Okay, this is the fail Mary. This is the potential buy Mary number one. So when price pulls back into the zone like this, did it create a buy engulfing in the zone? No, it did not close as a bullish engulfing in that zone. So what it did was it continued breaking lower, which means that price broke this low. When price broke this low, this was our potential buy Mary number one. But as soon as it broke lower, this cannot be our buy Mary number one because the low has been broken by this. So we potentially might need to find new buy Mary number one. So look at this again. This is a buy Mary, identifying buy Mary. Next, what do we need? We need a breakout from the structure. So what is a breakout? We need 1, 2, 3 candlesticks. 1, 2, 3. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. It needs to be 3 candles above the breakout zone. So as soon as that happened, we still have price coming back into, see what it did? It closed as another bullish engulfing. So what we have right now is that we have a fail Mary, we have buy Mary number one, we also have buy, we have buy Mary number, or maybe just call it engulfing by 2, easier. Okay, engulfing by number 2. So when you have fail Mary, when you have this and this, so we have yes. So which means that when we have done this, we only wait for price to pull back into the lower zone of the fail Mary. We don't have to take the price or the buy over there. We wait lower there. So this is how we get entries over here. We can buy, and as long as price does not break lower, as long as price does not break this low, look at the price. As soon as it comes, it rejects, comes, rejects, rejects, and boom, all the way up. Correct. But it has made another, okay, look at this again. This, you can also say that that is a sideways. This, look at this. Okay, good. Good for those of you guys who say this. But he has made again another engulfing sell. Look at this. When we have made a buy setup in, okay, look at this. This is a buy engulfing that failed. This. So we're going to make this zone like this. This is the buy. And after we have found the buy, where is, okay, I'm going to write this down. Okay. Oops. Okay. Buy engulfing that failed. we need to have it with sell engulfing and sell engulfing. Clear? Stop loss is part of entry. I will answer this later on. This is nothing to do with entry yet. Okay. When we're talking about the buy, we also have to look at there is a sell potential over here. So this is the first buy engulfing that failed. So which candle failed this buy? This, and this. It closed lower than this, which means that this buy engulfing has now been broken. And then in the same zone, is there a sell engulfing number one? Here, you can mark this as your first. Okay, maybe you can start off with marking this first. So after marking this is your first engulfing sell, price retraced into the zone. Did it create a sell setup or did it create a sell engulfing? No, it closed above, which means that it pushes price above. So we cannot use this as our first engulfing sell because the price has broken higher. We need to look for new ones. So can this be our second engulfing sell? Make a zone like this. When you make a zone like this is a valid zone for price to retest and close inside. So this is a potential. This is also a potential like this. So you have two. This is the first. This is the buy engulfing that failed. So far, do you guys understand? So far, do you guys understand? So after finding the first engulfing cell, what do we need? I understand. But this is the cell. This is the cell. This is number 5. By engulfing that failed plus cell engulfing plus cell engulfing, this is set up for cell. So look at this. When price came back into the zone, it closed as a bearish engulfing. So when it has closed as a bearish engulfing, all you need to do is you need to mark your zone as this is a selling zone like this. And this is below your buying zone. The best is to wait at the lowest point of the engulfing fail, which means that the lowest point. So if you're talking about this buy setup over here, we were talking about this buy, right? So make sure you wait for price to really retest the lower zone. Then you take the buys or the sell. So for me, why did price just reject? Is first, from this moment, we had the sell for M15 to push price down. But then as soon as price reaches the level of support for M15, price went all the way up again. So we are looking now only based on M15. So this could be a reason based on H1 or M30 or even a H4 buy, which we are not bothered to look at it right now. Now is just finding for the buy setup and for the sell setup. Next one. As I look on the chart, what I see every fresh engulfing zone work, but give few pips ups and downs. Yes, yeah, that's true, bro. Okay, so the time frame will be shown later. I will explain which time frames I personally use for the confirmation that I have. Engulfing 1 to 3 should happen after the fail, not before. It needs to be after the fail. How do you mark the lowest buy zone? So how I mark this lowest buy zone is this. This is our sell fail. So I'm gonna let me just. This is my fail Mary. So which means that this is my sell. It went all the way down and then it broke all the way up. And then in that process, it came back into our zone. Do you remember this buy engulfing number 1 and buy engulfing number 2? And as soon as price created this confirmation of the buy twice, there would be pullbacks, but this is just pullbacks into the lower zone. And how did I find this buy setup is based on Fail Mary plus buy engulfing number 1 plus buy engulfing number 2. And for the buy zone, I just stick it like this. Ken, we will look into the high time frame first, but for now, it's just about looking for buy setups based on smaller time frames or higher time frames. It doesn't matter. Okay, look at this. I think this is also interesting. Yes. Okay, now we focus on this. Okay. We are now going to be looking for a sell setup. So which means that we're looking at why price drop from here. This is just a potential buy. So we're going to look at the sell from here all the way down to here. Okay. So for this, first identify where is your, because you're looking for a sell setup. When you want to look for a sell setup, you need to first have a Fail Mary of a buy engulfing that failed. Number 1. So this is the first thing. So when you want to look for it, look for this. This is the buy. So maybe you would ask me, why is this a buy when the green is lower than this? So most importantly, look at the opening of the next candle. So the candle of the red closes above and opens above, which means that the green is supposed to be above. So this would make this as a buy engulfing. So we make it a zone like this. When we have found our Fail Mary, when price broke below, because price went all the way up for this buy, and then price came down, respect, boom, broke below. So as soon as it broke below, what did it do? It pulled back into the zone. And if we are focusing on the sell, we were looking at, first, it needs to be an engulfing sell number 1. This, where in this zone, we can find a sell engulfing number 1. So you can look at this. Make it a zone like this. So we have found how to take confirmation for buy or sell if zone not broken. That would be from the higher time frame, which I will explain later. But for now, if M15, if it gives you a buy setup or a sell setup, just follow, because I have been using M15 only and it can be profitable because there are more winnings than losings in M15 and M15 for gold if you only trade M15. Before candle or engulfing sell? Yes, it can happen before the fail. It can happen before a fail. That's a good question as well. Because sometimes it happens after the fail. Only engulfing sell number 1 happens after the fail. But in this case, the engulfing sell number 1 happened before it failed the buy zone. Agreed? Okay, so when we have identified engulfing number 1, we need the breakout, which means that price needs to close 1, 3 candles below the low of the buy and below the low of engulfing sell. So 1, 2, 3, done. Yes, later on. This is just based on setups on M15. Daily, weekly, monthly, everything else, we'll be looking at it later on. Okay. So when we have the pullback into the zone, price close as a engulfing sell number 2. So as soon as you see this engulfing number 1, engulfing sell number 2, you basically have found a sell setup. You can say to me that, sir, you have found a M15 sell setup. If someone tells me that, I'll take him as my assistant. Because I don't need to look at the chart. I can rely on my students. So if that happens, when we have found a sell setup, what we can do is we move this zone into the higher zone like this. So all we want is price to retrace into the higher zones, and then boom, a sell could happen. Boom. So that would at least give us 70, 75 pips. And you would ask me, where is stop loss? So stop loss is, this is the highest, right? So your stop, yeah. So to reduce the zone, okay, look at this. To reduce the zone from this zone to make it, to make it a smaller zone, you just have to reduce it to a 20 to 30 pip zone. Or maybe smaller, maybe 15 pip zone like this. This is a 15 pips zone. Correct. So the third engulfing cell is supposed to be a stronger one. So look at this. As soon as it creates this cell, boom. As soon as it creates this cell, boom. Okay. No, only 2. For our confirmation for now, only 2. Where to put TP1, TP2? Okay, so for SL, okay. So basically, SL is 20 pips from the zone. So let's just say from this zone all the way up. So it'll be here. So that's going to be your stop loss. So if you take a trade from here, your stop loss is 35 pips. And you can set straight away your stop loss. Because if price retrace and hits your stop loss, it means that you're just, the setup wants to go all the way up. And maybe there's a buy setup that is valid. That's all. Risk to reward is when you, and I actually use this to take my trades. So let's just say I do this. So look at this. When you enter over here, your risk is 35 pips. So this trade is a 2.03 risk to reward ratio. So anything that is more than 2 is actually very good. So if you can focus on 3 and above, it's actually the best. So let's just say you take the sell all the way down. This setup, I would say it should hit take profit over here at 1836.89. So if you ask me then next, how do I manage my risk? Because if I manage my risk, I'll be able to know how much am I supposed to lose. That one I will explain later. But for now, we are looking at the sell setup. If you guys are clear, we can look at the next thing to teach. So far, you guys clear with this sell setup? Clear? Okay. Do you want me to do another sell setup or you want me to do what right now? I want to do another one. If you guys want, I can do it again. SL. Okay, SL once more. Okay, can. Okay, I give another setup. Okay, we were here just now. Price retraced all the way up. Okay, then let's just say that we still have this setup as a valid setup, right? Price TP, which means that it is dangerous for you to take the sell because price has reached take profit. If price was maybe just around here and then it retraced up to this point, maybe it's safer to take the sell like this. Okay, so what do you need to do when price has broken this zone? This zone is broken because of this. So you need to wait for a new setup, a buy or a sell or whatsoever. You need to wait for a new. Selling at engulfing 2 can be risky because you do not wait for price to close as the second engulfing, because you are expecting it to be a second engulfing, and that is only your expectation. So that's why it's a bit high risk. Okay, back to this. As soon as price broke the level, we need to be looking for new setups, a buy or even a sell. So next, we have to minus this zone because this zone is already invalid. We need to look for new zones. So this is with potential buy. This is a buy. Keep chewing. This is good. This is the buy. So first it was a buy. Then it broke lower. This is the breakout. Can you see? This is the breakout, the 3 candle breakouts. Some of you guys have asked me, what is the breakout? This is the breakout. 1, 2, 3. 3 candles breaking below the low. As soon as it broke below, it needs to come back into the zone and close as the first engulfing sell. Because for this case, it did not close before the break. Understand? So it needs to pull back into the zone. It needs to sell in the zone to make a first engulfing sell. And then what it needs to do is it needs to create a breakout. So right after it creates a breakout, this is how many candlesticks? 1, 2. Means it's not valid breakout. It needs to be 3 candlesticks. So it needs to be like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is a valid breakout. Then after having the breakout, we need to wait for a pullback. In this pullback, what do we need to wait for? We need to wait for the second engulfing sell. So this is going to be our second engulfing sell. So some of you guys can sell this short, I don't know, boom, 30, 40 pips. But as soon as price came back into the zone, look at that. Did it respect or did it break? So this, as soon as it came back into the zone, it did this. It rejected straight away down, boom, and then it went all the way up. So that's why it's important to take your trades based on higher time frame confirmation. Just keep central engulfing sell. This one, oh, okay. You're right, you're right. I can also take this. This is my first engulfing. This could also be my, oops. This can also be my first engulfing sell. Thank you, Shudip. But this cannot be my second engulfing because it did not break the zone. Okay. Next. Can I move on or there is one more before it? Which one? Okay, let's just stay in this zone again. But it did break. Okay, let's see. This is going to be our fail. Remains as our fail, Mary. And then next, we have the first potential engulfing sell here. And then we have this is also our potential first sell. This was the breakout. This is the pullback. And actually, this is our second engulfing. Oh, I understand. So right after this, price closed as a sell. Yeah, that's why it dropped further. Yeah, sorry, I missed this one. So that's why from that moment, after creating the sell, price dropped another 100 pips because of the setup of a sell. Why potential word? Because this is the first sell. Boom, 100 pips. First sell. And then in the pullback, there could be second sell. So from this moment, it could reject at the opening of the engulfing number 2. So from that moment, it rejected another 60 plus pips. So that's why it's a potential of the first cell, potential of the second cell, and whatever cells. As long as it stays below, as long as it does not break. This next. Okay, so can we move on with, let me go back to the okay, so we have done identifying a setup for the buy, right? We also have identified the setup for the sell over here. Boom. Next, we need to go into the confirmations of two different time frames, which means from a H4 to an M15, or even a daily to a H1, for example. But before I start off with that, let's see some questions from you guys. If you guys have any questions first. Yes, you can. If setup failed, can we look for engulfing pattern from the failed setup to create? Yes. You can use the failed setup to use that. Yes, you can use that for your engulfing pattern, because it can also be from the failed, the setup that's failed. Yeah. And obviously, after that setup failed, there will be new candles that's formed, and just monitor if there are new buying opportunity, which means that if it creates a new buying setup from M15, or if it creates a new selling setup from M15, you can take that trade. So entry point, there's two. So you can straight away take the ones from the breakout, or you can wait for the pullback. For new people, he has YouTube channel you can watch. Yes, you are right, bro. Mujib, two engulfings are necessary, sir, for entry. Yes, at least it needs to be having three, which is a fail marry, number one. Number two, it needs to have the sell marry. And then number three, it needs to have another sell marry in the same zone. It cannot be in different zone. No, I don't use any other indicators. I only use naked chart, 100%. Okay, so if there's no question, can you give me like 1 minute to drink something, and then we can start with the two different time frames for this. Okay, you guys can chill a bit. And Okay. So direction is confirmed, fail plus EG plus EG. Yes, correct. What's the typing speed? I don't know, bro. What's my typing speed? Please upload video on YouTube or Telegram, watch again. Yes, definitely you need to watch again. At least watch it 5 times. Fail engulfing buy is sell engulfing 1, sell engulfing 2. Entry when price come back to engulfing sell 2. Yes, correct. This is the best usually. But you can also sell as soon as the engulfing sell number 2 is formed. As soon as it's formed, you can do a sell straight away. Because there are times where price just breaks down all the way for the sell. And sometimes it does not come back. So it's better for you to just put one sell, and if it comes back higher, you can sell again. Yes, I've been trading a lot with US30 these days. It's so far it's really nice. Yeah, maybe one day we can focus on US30. I will also send you guys setups because US30 it works really well with this. And I can show it to you guys also after this. We can backtest based on US30 also, no problem. It is very high in terms of liquidity, dangerous. It's a very dangerous pair. But as long as we know our risk, it's fine. Yes, I will upload. I will upload soon. Pullback. Pullback confirmation is pullback confirmation is after engulfing. But by the time it's too late, how to make sharp entry? For me, I don't really go for sharp entry so much because like at times when you want to enter the pullbacks, there are times where it just breaks higher. It does happen. So I just take both. I take the sell based on when it creates the sell setup straight away. And I will also take again at the higher zone where I know that you should respect the fail Mary. Again, I will look at it again in the H1 and I will show you guys, okay? Depends. I don't trade so much actually. Just by looking for the signals, I have to give like maybe 2 to 3 a day. But for my personal trades, I don't really take that much. Maybe I take 2 in a day, sometimes 3. Yes, this must happen in the failed Mary zone. Okay. Yeah, I label some as risky because maybe it does not have a higher time frame confirmation. Yeah, it's very fast, bro. Yes, it works perfectly with crypto. Perfect. Which account should we use full margin or low? To be honest with you guys, I rather have you guys. It depends on your account size. Because if your account size is 100, 150 to 200, for example, you need to try to make sure that you grow that account in a steady manner, right? So you do not take crazy trades. And for some of you guys, 150 is a lot of money. So you cannot risk everything. So it depends on your risk. I cannot be telling you like you should trade higher or you should trade or take more risk, for example. It's up to your desire of risk. Okay, so you can look at H1 after this, okay? Why currency is the best for engulfing theory? For me, it's not the best or what. It's just it respects better. And you know, currency is so slow comparing to gold, right? That's why it is it's more respectful at some zones. But nevertheless, so let's start looking at H4. So now what we're going to be focusing on is we need to be looking at confirmation of 2 different time frames. So one thing that I can say from this is that confirmations that they do not come every single day. So sometimes it comes in 3 days, once in 3 days, once in a week, especially for weekly and H4 setups. It does not come at like every single day. It comes maybe once. So that's why when it comes, we really have to be sure that we are ready to take it. Okay, so let's start with H1. Okay, this is a side note for you guys. Just write this down because I use this for my confirmations. Confirmations. Okay. Wait, I think I want to open a new chart. Say USD. Okay, perfect. This is like a clean chart, you see? It's like a baby, nothing drawn on top. Oh, because my chart before is so messy. Okay. Confirmations. When you're talking about daily, so there's like higher time frames, you would have monthly, weekly, daily, H4. And then I would say lower time frames. That would be from H1, 20, 15, and 5. 1. So the thing that you have to focus on is just a few time frames. What I do is that for daily, I only focus for H1 and M30. That's all. And for H4, I focus on M15 or M5. So how does this work? So first of all, you need to always find setups from higher time frame, weekly, monthly, daily, H4. Do not go into the chart straight away. Okay, what is the M1 doing? Oh, is it? You cannot be going to the chart with that mentality. So that's why you always have to go from the monthly time frame. So let's look together of what. Where's monthly? Okay. This is the monthly time frame for gold, right? So for gold, for monthly time frame, we need to understand what is the direction. So this is the current market where it is right now. So where it is right now is, I can say that I'm going to mark this as my first sell. Make it like a zone like this. So the moment price touched this zone, that was why price rejected all the way up. So in this zone, we have the first Hail Mary, and then we have the first engulfing number 1. So what do we need is for price to enter the zone and close as a bullish candle. So if that happens, we can say that we have a monthly confirmation for the buy. So if this happens, it might continue all the way up again. But in this case, we cannot say that because it has not yet formed. So the only data that we have from monthly right now is price is retesting this level. Price might retest lower again to be doing it sideways and do the bullish movement in the zone. So monthly, what you can say is just this. You cannot be creating more data than what you can say. So why did it drop? It might be because of price is in a level of resistance. We do not know what's happening on the left because we do not have any data at all over here, because price of gold at lowest was just at 256 and there isn't any data on the left at all. So next, we're going to be looking at weekly time frame. So for the weekly time frame, we have identified the monthly. So next, where is the weekly? We're going to change it to a different color. Maybe, what color should I use? This? Okay. So where is the latest setup that was formed by weekly? So the latest setup was this. Remember I was saying to you guys that weekly is creating a buy setup. Boom. From this moment, weekly created this buy setup. But what happened is that price went up, maybe around 300-400 pips. And then it came back into the zone. It respected that line. So let's see, let's zoom in. Respected this line and rejected, boom, up. So from 1695 or 1700, price went all the way up to 1731. So another 300 pips from a weekly zone. But what happened the next week? price closed below. So what we can say is that price broke the level of support for weekly at this point. So when price breaks this level of support, it means that price might just want to do a retest before trying to go lower into the zone. And I feel like we are in a weekly zone for potential buy. So this is the zone for the weekly. And why do I mark like this? Is because that this is a fail, this green and red. And in the same time, we have the buying zone over here. So this is the weekly zone. So right now we can say that monthly and weekly have no proper setup for the buy or for the sell. But you know that it touches the monthly zone and weekly zone has just been broken. So since we are at weekly right now, let's change this color to where are the potential zones for the pullbacks. So potential zones for pullbacks could be here. So why do I mark there? Because this is our buy zone. So this was the level of support before. It buy, buy, and then it broke lower. It broke over here. So that's why this was our level of support that now has turned to our level of resistance. So the level of resistance is at from 1729 all the way to 1747.3. Next, we can say that weekly, monthly, no confirmation. Let's look at daily. So what is daily doing? Let's look at why did price reject all the way down from wherever reason. We're going to start by looking at where price is from here. Did it drop with any reason? There must be a setup from the back, but we do not have data. So the only thing that we have is current market price. So if we are looking, we need to be focusing on either the buy or the sell. So in this case, if we know that, okay, price has dropped, and when I was here, we were looking and trading in this zone actually. So I'm going to mark for you. This is the buy. So since this is the daily time frame, I'm going to change the color to blue. So blue is the color for daily. This is our buy. Price came back into the zone, buy. And then it broke lower. So after breaking lower, we have found our fail Mary, which is the buy that failed. So if there's a buy that failed, which means we are looking for sell, first engulfing, sell. So we need to identify where is our first engulfing sell. It can be before the breakout. This is the breakout. So engulfing number one can be before the breakout, which is this, or it can also happen after the breakout. So in this case, the first engulfing sell potential zone is from this to this, like this. And the second one is this to this. Okay, so far, is this too fast, or is this, you guys are clear with what I'm saying and I'm talking right now? Are you guys still with me? Are you guys still with me? Yes. Okay, good. Wow, you guys are so excited. Okay, let's continue. This is the potential first engulfing cell. This is also the first potential of engulfing cell. We know that what do we need after the first engulfing cell? The formula is failed Mary plus engulfing cell plus, okay, plus it needs to have a breakout plus second engulfing cell. Understand? So this is what is happening right now. Failed Mary is this. Engulfing cell number 1 is potentially this or this. So we need to understand in our mind, we have two zones. It's either this or this. What would dictate for us to be using that zone or not is, does it create a selling zone there? That's all. So let's go. This is our first potential. Second potential, it needs to have a breakout. Where is the breakout? This is the breakout. Oops. This is the breakout. How many candles are there? 1, 2, 3. 3 candles. So when you have 3 candles that actually broke out from the zone, any pullbacks into the zone, you need to monitor the first engulfing over here. Make your zone like this. Okay, so you would be trading, you would not be trading right now. You would be only waiting for a potential zone. So look at this. Price came back into the zone. Price came back into the zone. So basically, sorry, we need, this is the breakout. We are waiting for the pullback, 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 pullback. You have your first zone, remember. So would you still sell over here? No, because price has not closed as a bearish candle yet. What happened next is it went all the way up, boom. So what happens is that we have this first engulfing cell zone that is no more valid. So you can minus it off that zone. After the breakout, can we take, wait, there's a question, hold on. After the breakout, can we take the first bearish as our entry? No. Because if you take this first bearish as your entry, what happened? You might be floating up because you did not wait for the candle to close. Okay, so let me finish explaining first this daily setup, because I want to explain 2 different time frames, daily, H1 M30. So now we are in the process of looking and finding a daily setup for a sell. Okay, so follow me closely, okay? Next, we cannot use this as our engulfing cell zone number 1 already, because price has closed above than this high. So minus it off. Right after minus it off, you need to understand, did price enter our first engulfing zone? Remember, the first engulfing zone needs to be in the same zone as our fail Mary, the buy that failed. That needs to be in the same zone. So look at it. Tell me, answer to me right now. If you look at it like this, okay, this is going to be quite a close. Okay, perfect. This is the low of the first engulfing cell. Price enters the zone over here, right? After price entering the zone over here, is this a confirmation for a daily sell? Please answer, yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? No. Yes. Well done. You need to wait for the second engulfing. Yes. So when price retrace into the zone, we would not be even bothered to even sell yet, because we need to make sure that price enters the zone and close as a bearish engulfing number 2. So can you see this? As soon as it closed as a bearish candle, bearish daily candle number 2, we can say that, Sir Gerrard, you have a daily confirmation for a sell. Is that clear? That's how you're supposed to tell me next time. price enters the zone and closed as a sell. So we can say that this is our second engulfing sell. So yes, correct. ABC done. We have the ABC now done. So after ABC done, what do you need to do? I would tell you, you can straight away sell. But are you willing to take the floating of 200, 300 pips? Of course not. I'm not willing to take a 300 pips floating, guys. I'm not. That's why I'm not. Because if you are able to take a 300 pips of loss, you need to at least have the mindset to take a win of 600 pips for you to be able to have a risk to reward ratio of 1:2. Does it make sense? So if you have not that mentality, yes, you need to go to small time frame. That is why today I will explain to you daily time frame confirmation, and we would put, where do we put a line for confirmation, where will we be taking the trades and things like that. I will show to you everything from the daily time frame to the H1 time frame to the higher time frame or whatsoever. So what is this? Someone has said on 25th June, is that not cell number 2? 25th June. Let's see, where is 25th June? Here is 24th June. This is 25th June. I will get there later. Okay. All of this, we will look from H1 M30 together. Okay. That later. Chill. We look at this now first. So when you have this zone, when you have the first Hail Mary that's confirmed, you have the first engulfing sell, and then you have the breakout, you have the pullback. The first one did not close as second engulfing sell. It retraced all the way down again, and then it went all the way up because it needs to close as a sell. If it really wants to drop, it needs to close as a sell. So next, from having 3 zones, how do you make it as one zone? Okay, this is going to be very interesting. How you make it to one zone? So you can minus off this first box, and then this is your second engulfing, right? So this is supposed to be your third box. You can minus it off, and then your first box for your Hail Mary, you remain and put this box at the opening of engulfing number 2 here. Put it at the opening of engulfing number 2. So what you have right now is you have a zone that is smaller, that is not as big as this, but the zone is, instead of a 1844 to 1879, a 300 pips zone, now you have a zone of 1868 all the way to 1879. So that's 110 pips. It's 30% lesser risk. It's a better thing, right? So when you, this is what I call as high liquidity zones. So something new for you guys as well. It's called high liquidity zones. So when you have Hail Mary plus engulfing sell plus engulfing sell, you would get a zone that's called high liquidity zone. Clear? Are you guys clear? Yep. You can also put at the open of Hail Mary. No problem, bro. If you put it at the open of Hail Mary, means you are at a smaller risk compared to if you put it at the opening of the second engulfing cell. Okay. So far, understand until this how we got the high liquidity zone? Okay, once you have confirmed your second engulfing sell, what you do is that you put a line after the confirmation. So you put a line here. So this is a line that would indicate only focus for sell in the blue zone, for example, because this is the breakout. So obviously, if we want to be entering, it's better to be entering at prices higher over here. As soon as it enters that zone, we need to be ready for setups from H1, M30, and whatever setup that is from the smaller time frame. Okay, so now I want to go into this. What is after this red line? So this is daily. Let's go to H4. So this is H4. Okay, so before we skip into going to H1, we are looking at H4 right now. So what you guys actually see from daily earlier is what we are seeing from a H4 time frame. Can you see that at the same zone? Okay, now let's look at H4 and let's use a different color, a purple color now. Can you identify that there is a fail Mary over here? What is this? This is a buy that failed, right? This is the buy that failed. So we can take this as our fail Mary H4, for example. Potential sell setup. This. We're gonna make it a zone like this. The same thing. What do we need? We need price to enter the zone, and we need for it to close as the first engulfing sell. So in this case, the first time it actually closed as a sell engulfing is this. This is the first. But what happens next is this is the sell for those of you guys who do not wait for the confirmation. You try to sell over here, hoping that it will become the engulfing number 2. And then, wait, let me see, sorry. So use market reply tool here. So, okay, wait, relax. Replay tool. Okay, replay tool. How to use replay tool? I don't know how to use. I will learn how to use it and I will make sure that I will use it next time with you guys. Okay, but now let's look at this. H4. This is the fail Mary for H4. This is the first sell that was formed, and price did not close as a bearish engulfing in the zone. Instead, it broke higher. It went higher. So when it goes higher, is there any engulfing sell over here? Nope, there isn't. There is only a fail Mary for the buy. So remember, we have the fail Mary, but we don't have the first engulfing sell yet. So this is potentially our first engulfing sell from the H4 time frame. So in H4, as always, we want the breakout. 1, 2, 3 candles. After the breakout, what do we need? We need a pullback into the zone. So that is where we will be waiting for. This is the engulfing 1 sell H4. It needs to come back into the zone for it to close as a second engulfing sell. Oops. Oh, that was close. H4. So look at this. Let's zoom into it. It came back into the zone, closed as a sell. So right now, can you agree with me that we have a daily confirmation for a sell? And we also have a H4 confirmation for a sell. Do you agree? Yes or no? We have 2 setups right now. We have daily sell. We also have H4 sell. So now daily sell confirmation done. H4 sell confirmation done. So all we need right now is just a red. I'm going to change it to blue because that's for the daily breakout. And for the H4, the line would be after the breakout. So this is the second engulfing cell. It will be after the second engulfing cell. So here, this is the H4 setup. Are you guys clear? Are you guys lost or are you guys okay? Understand why I put the line? Wait, there is a fail Mary in H4. It's here. The fail Mary for H4 is here. Can you see this buy? This buy candle. So that's the buy candle that failed. That became our fail Mary H4. You are really clear, sir. Okay, that's good. That's good. This is the fail Mary for H4. And then we have the first over here, second over here. So maybe the part that you guys do not understand is if you go back to daily. Let's go back to daily. Okay, let's understand why did I put the line over here. This line is to indicate that we have settled the confirmation, which is the fail Mary, the first cell engulfing, and the second cell engulfing. So right after the engulfing 2 has been formed, we put a line after the confirmation. So over here. So that after this line, we can start focusing on M30 H1 for the cell. Okay, that is the line for this. For the H4, since we opened up H4 earlier, this is what we found. We have found that H4 has also created a cell setup. So right after it created the cell setup, I will put this confirmation over here, which means that right after the second engulfing cell for H4. Okay, right after these two lines, our only focus should be looking for cells from H1, M30, M15, M5. So that's what we're going to do right now. So let's start looking from H1. Okay, where is a potential? This is H1. Only focus on cells after this confirmation. Only focus on cell 1. And why are we looking at H1 and M30? Is because that we had the confirmation from the daily time frame. So in this zone over here, there are a lot of setups. So we need to wait for the M30 to form the cell setup that we want. As long as it does not form, I will not be trading. Simple. And if it creates the setup that I want, then I'll take my trades. Okay. So from here, we need to identify where is a buy engulfing that failed. So we can take this first zone. Oops, I'm going to change it to H1 for me is yellow. Okay, so let's look into this first zone first. This is the high, this is the low. So in this case, we can say that, okay, let's see what is the SL. Oh, perfect. So in this case, what can we say? We have the first buy. And in the same zone, we have this sell. This is a sell. So this is the buy. The buy got failed because of this breakout. 1, 2, 3. Before the breakout happened, look above. There is this sell. So this is our first EG buy, for example. And then after the breakout, obviously price will make a pullback into the zone. So after pulling back into the zone, we would be we would be waiting for this sell. Okay, this sell happened. Where is the confirmation for this sell? So let's see. Put a line at the lowest point of. So the lowest point of the second engulfing is this. So it was this red candle that pushes price down. So this is our second engulfing. So next, what we do is that to find your stop loss for this, because you can take this trade because this setup for the sell H1 is based on a daily sell, H4 sell, and also H1 sell. Okay, then that's when you have this. You have the first zone, which is your engulfing fail, which is your fail Mary over here, the highest point. You also have the highest point of your engulfing number 1, which is that point. And the third point is this. So you have 3 lines, the highest of the fail Mary, the highest of the engulfing number 1, and the highest of engulfing number 2. So you have 3 lines. So how you want to draw your setup is put the sell setup at the highest point of the highest point. So that's 20 pips from here. So 20 pips, and then you know that price can trade from anywhere around the area. And then it should drop, let's just say, a ratio 2. Okay. So if that happens, your entry can be around that area, or if you want a better entry, take your entry at the opening of engulfing number 2. Because if your stop loss is, you entry over here, your stop loss is at 39 pips. But remember, your take profit is all the way 180 pips. You can hold until 180 pips. That's not a joke, guys. You can really hold your trades. Bro, what not used before candle? So please see the 16-day on daily. Wait, and EG sell breaks a buy also. Sorry, second M30. Can M30 after this. Now we look at H1 first. Okay, wait, is there any other? Wait, Zauha, what do you mean by bro? Why not use before candle? This is which time frame? So please see the 16-day on daily. Okay, wait. I will go to daily after this, but let's look at H1 first for now. Oh, okay. Explain H1. This is what's happening in the H1 so far. So your first setup could be here, selling at this point. Stop loss is at 39 to 40 pips, and your take profit is at 180 pips. So let's just say you risk $100. If it hits stop loss, you are losing $100. But if it goes all the way down, you would make maybe $400, $500. So that is our first setup from the daily time frame and H1 time frame. So this is a confirmation of 2 different time frames. H1 daily. H1 daily. Next, is there any new setup that's being formed? We need to take a look. We might have new, we might not have. Okay, now let's look at this zone. Remember, our direction is sell. Do not be looking at buys because the buys will be broken. Sell will be valid. Okay, so after this first sell that is still running, we have identified this is our, what is this? Oh wait, I'm going to use, okay. This is our buy, correct. This is our buy engulfing, red, green. So this buy engulfing came back into our zone, and along the way, before breaking lower, it creates the first engulfing cell, it creates the second engulfing cell, it creates the third engulfing cell. So imagine how much volume is there in here. Boom, 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 breakout, pull back, entry. So H1, this is our fail. I'm going to write it down. When you fail Mary. In this fail Mary, where is our potential sell? I'm going to mark it as well. Okay, look at this again. I made a mistake because look at this. Can this consider as our first? Okay, this is a question. Can this be considered as our first engulfing sell in our fail Mary H1? Can this or not? Okay, so the answer to this is no. You cannot take this because it is not in your zone. Look at where the body is. Look at where the body is, this and this. It is above the fail Mary zone. So the fail Mary zone is here. The fail Mary zone is here. So it needs to be creating this inside the zone. So this is okay. This first engulfing cell is okay because it is inside. This is inside the zone. Okay, there is one more fail Mary in first trade too. Yep, definitely there is. It could be this maybe. Yep, this could be, but there isn't a setup for this one for now. But I can wait. I can show it to you later. This. Okay. Thanks for sharing with me about this. Good one. So actually, there is this setup for a cell for the first one. So there is first cell, second cell. This is the second cell actually. And then this is the third cell. Boom. So why do I say that? Is because that if you mark this first, let's just say that you mark this all the way. We need to consider that price is currently here. It has not done this and this yet. So this is our fail Mary. This is our first cell. But then everything down here is just the setup that's being formed here. The cell that needs to be formed, it needs to pull back into the higher zone. So that's why this is our third setup, not the second. So we will go through this after this. Let's finish on this first. Okay, we do it step by step. First engulfing cell. What is this? 1, 2, 3. Right? This is a 1, 2, 3. So after a breakout, what do you need to do? You need to wait for a pullback. So are we going to sell here? No, because there isn't a sell confirmation in the zone. Are you going to sell higher? Maybe. So let's see. It goes back into our zone, into our same zone as fail Mary and first engulfing cell. And then what happened? It creates the cell engulfing number 2. So that's how it's going to create engulfing number 2. So when this has been formed, what do we need to do? Use this setup. Where is your highest? So this is the highest for my fail Mary. Where is the highest for my engulfing number 1? It is this. Where is the highest for my engulfing number 2? Is this. So you entry in between here. Where is our stop loss? So highest point and 20 pips above. 20 pips. Yeah, that's 20 pips. So 20 pips above, and then your entry should be around this area. And Boom, 1.992. Okay. So basically this could be your entry. First, Hail Mary. First engulfing sell, second engulfing sell. So you can entry as soon as it closes as the second sell. So you might get this, I don't know, 60, 70 pips. And price might retrace again. In this case, it retraced. It retraced all the way up. So as I said, remember, better to wait at the opening of the second engulfing. And when you have this zone, what do you have? You have a high liquidity, H1 sell. So how you mark your zone is just like this. You remove the second box, you remove your third box like this. You only remain your first box. Bring your box all the way to the second engulfing cell. So that is your entry point. So let's say that if you entered over here, your SL would have been at 56 pips. Then boom, 200 pips. But now you said take the sell on the second engulfing. Is okay, to be honest with you, I take both. When this happens, when this sell happens, I take this first 60 to 70 pips because I want this 60, 70 pips. But then when price retrace, I'll be aware at the opening of the second engulfing because I do not want to miss this drop after the thing. Because if I wait for it to drop, I might not take the sell. I might not get the sell, if you understand. So now we can say that we have the second setup for H1. Price came back into the zone. It ran all the way down to 150 pips. It did not hit stop loss at 200. It did not take profit at 200 pips, but it still ran almost 170 pips. Second setup, daily plus H1. Clear? Next, in the same zone again, we have found that we can take this as our new zone. This as our fail Mary. This buy that failed. So in that process, it also closed as a first engulfing over here. And then price came back into the zone over here. But in this case, it did not close as the engulfing number 2. The second time it came back into the zone, then it closed as a bearish candle. So like what I said earlier, after creating the sell, you can take this sell. Boom, you see? After it creates the sell, you need to take this sell first because it would drop roughly 50 to 70 pips usually. But in this case, it dropped almost 123 pips. Again, what is this setup? This setup is from... Wait. I'm gonna minus this. Okay, so the highest point of the fail Mary is this. The highest point of the first engulfing is this. And the highest point of the third engulfing is this, right? So we have our zones like this. You can enter somewhere down here. Take profit is 1 to 2. So you see, even if you enter here, your risk to reward ratio is huge. You know that these trades would go 200, 300 pips at least. Okay, easy. Any questions so far? Okay, so it's almost 2 hours plus, 2 hours, 15 minutes. And I would finish off with this daily and H1 setups. Because over here, if you can watch this again, all of the examples that I've sent, you be more, you understand better, because you cannot understand by just watching once. Okay. Yes, definitely. So I think for tonight, we're almost going to be done. I'm just going to finish this a bit more, this H1 zones and stuff like that. And I want to go to the M30, M15 a bit more. And then we would end the night here. Okay. So far. Okay. Question. Good. Ask me questions. Okay, wait. Yes, you will get the video. Why didn't you consider the second engulfing cell? Which one? This one? Is it this one? Okay, because if I look at this, this is the green, red. This is the low that it needs to break below. But price did not manage to close below. Okay, so now we have seen from the H1 time frame. I want to try and find if there's any more sell setups from the H1 around this area. No. Okay. Okay, so there's also this buy setup over here, right? There's more to share, bro. Trust me. I want to share everything to you guys. Wait, some of you guys would be very heavy, itchy hands, you know, like to buy as well. So look at this. When we have this buy over here, what I mean is that a fail Mary, a sell that failed above. So this was our first potential buy, but then this candlestick broke lower. So we still only have this as our first buying zone. So why do I say that it is dangerous to be buying when the daily is on a sell? Because when you are buying, you are going against the daily trend of the sell. You are going against the H4 trend of the sell. It needs to be one direction. If you really want to swing, make sure that you are following the daily direction. So that's why when daily gives you a sell setup, do not be trying to buy. What you need to do is you need to wait for the H1 to break that level, which means that it needs to break this setup over here. Oops. And it needs to close lower than this. So what happened over here? Price closed lower, managed to do a pullback to just scare everyone. But then it just went all the way down again because it has the sell setup of H1. It also have the buy, but got broken. Can you see? So this is very interesting. Right after this again, let's look at why price dropped even further. I want to be focusing on this blue zone. Hey guys, focus. Master, you are great. I appreciate your effort in teaching all of us. Thanks a ton, sir. Oh, you have shared us course of USD 10K knowledge for free. Oh, damn. 10K USD, you feel this knowledge. But I've not done teaching yet, bro. If I done teaching, maybe it costs a bit more. Okay, guys. So, okay, listen. Thank you guys for your kind words. I want to make, sweet, sexy. Okay, we have found the sell, broke the buy. Next, why did this sell happen? Focus on this area. Focus on this area again. Why did it happen? Again, we're going to find sell. Means that we need to find a buy that failed. So this is going to be my buy that failed. First, buy. And I want this to fail so badly like this. Boom. So remember, when it failed, I will be monitoring. Did it create any sell setup in the zone? What I mean is that did it create any first potential engulfing sell in this zone? Okay, so let's look at it together. Now, price comes down. It did not create a sell yet. It did not create a sell yet. This is bigger. I grow bigger. This grow bigger. This grow better. You grow. Yeah, baby. Okay, we have found our first potential sell. We're going to make it a zone like this. So for those of you guys, this is fail, marry, right? The buy engulfing that has been broken. Next, when we have this, we found also over here is our first engulfing sell. So when we have our fail, marry plus first engulfing sell, number 3, what do we need to have? Breakout. 1, 2, 3. This is a breakout. 1, 2, 3. Why do I say this is not a breakout? Because this is just 1, 2. Okay, bro. Understand? This is the breakout. So we need a pullback into the zone. We need a pullback into the zone. So price pulls back into the zone. Some of you guys might be selling early. Some of you guys cannot wait to sell. I want to sell now, sir. But then you have to wait for the second engulfing sell to happen. So price came back into the zone, into the zone, blah, 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 blah. Boom. What happened in this zone? Look at it. What did it create over here? What did it create over here? It creates an engulfing sell. So what do we have in this zone? We have engulfing sell number 2. Second, engulfing. It's interesting, right? I don't know if you guys find this interesting or not. I usually talk to myself like this when I'm like backtesting or like doing it charts, but wait, let me finish this first. Second engulfing sell has been formed. So what do you have after fail, marry plus engulfing sell number 1 plus engulfing cell number 2, you have this thing called, let me show you. Hold on. Tarun, let me explain to you. High liquidity zone. Okay. So when you have a high liquidity zone, all you need to do is minus off your first box, minus off your second box, your first ever box that you had from your fail, marry, place it at the opening of engulfing number 2, which is here. So you can move it like this. And if you feel that this zone is too big at 69 pips, make it to a 30 pip zone. Like I said, this zone needs to be 30 pips. Okay. So what do you see? When you have waited for this confirmation of the HLZ zone, you only need to wait for price to enter this and sell, enter this and sell. And look at it. As soon as it closed as the third engulfing, it dropped even more. Boom. Okay, that's not the end. So you need to understand where is stop loss. Stop loss. Because in trading, stop loss is very, very important. So the setup for this is you take this sell setup. But wait, before that, where is the highest point of your fail, marry? This is your highest point of your fail, marry. Where is your highest point of your engulfing number 1? This. Oops. where is your highest point of engulfing number 2? This. So which is the highest among these three? This. So put your setup at this zone. Have 20 pips stop loss. Let's just say 209. And around this area is your entry. Or maybe you can put around, okay, and pull it to 1. This needs to be 1.2. As soon as it becomes this ratio, you know that if you take your trades higher, you want your stop loss to be around, let's just say, you want to take your trades around this area. Your stop loss is only 53 pips. But if you take profit, it is at all the way down 320 pips. So this is what I want to teach you guys on how to find setup so that we can swing a sell of 200 pips, a sell or a buy of 100 pips, for example. But are you guys clear why it's important to go from daily and then we break it down into H1 and then we can break it down even into M30. But now I'm just explaining the charts for you guys only at H1 with the direction of daily. Okay, so right after the setup was created over here, what did it do? It creates another new sell setup. So this was our first sell setup. Second is we can use our same Fail Mary. This is the same Fail Mary. Is there a potential next sell setup? So this is the first. This is the first, sorry. Okay, this is the first setup that we found earlier together. Tell me what I'm doing is correct or I'm doing it wrong, okay? I'm going to use this as my first engulfing sell. This candle over here. This over here. I want to use this as my first engulfing sell. Can I use this as my second engulfing sell to make it as a valid setup? Yes or no? Answer me. Can I use it? Is that a... Remember, this is the low of my Fail Mary. This is the low of my Fail Mary. And this is my first engulfing sell. Can I use this as my second engulfing sell? Or this is still my first engulfing sell? Okay, the answer is no, because some said yes, some said no. Don't worry, do not be feeling down whatsoever. It's just the answer is no, because if we take this as our first engulfing sell, what is number 3? It needs to create breakouts, 3 candlesticks, 1, 2, 3. And if it actually breaks out and pulls back into the zone, then we can say that, yes, this is going to be our second engulfing sell. If it closed as a bearish candle. Clear? Clear? Okay. So that's why price dropped all the way down, 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 down. Okay. So that is based on a H1. So now you have just listened to me talking about H1 for the last 1 hour. Only 3 setups. I can talk to you about the charts for hours, but I don't want to burden your head too much. I know this is going to be a lot, but don't worry. With time, it will just get better and better and better and better and better and better. If it gets worse, don't worry. It will get better. Okay? Next. Wait, how are you guys feeling? Are you guys okay to, yes, must be 3 candlesticks to break out. Okay, can we finish it here? I mean, in the way that we have backtested daily and H1 and understanding how to mark liquidity, high liquidity zones. Are we okay? Yes. Percentage of winning strategy is 70%. Yes. We need to revise. Yes. I think, yeah, that's good, guys. Feeling like, yes. Okay, guys. I understand. So I hope today is, I hope today is actually a good session for everyone. And definitely you need to take a lot of practice too. And if you have any questions, please just send questions to the admin, okay? Because we would be answering your whatever questions that you have. We will be helping you in terms of the markings and if it's wrong, if it's correct. And I will do my best to also give you guys classes at least twice a week or maybe 3 times a week, depends. So for now, I think this is enough. It's about 3 hours now. 3 hours, guys, 3 hours plus. So let's end the night here. We go tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow, you go again and then make sure you guys practice. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to end the night here. And good night, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.